be flying there and the door will just fly open on its own. But yeah, so he said he's just seeing if we're about at Donington.
Ah, excellent. That's good to hear. Mark Parbury, son of Roy Parbury, of course, another front runner from a few years ago. Mark was a pretty handy rider himself and also went on the power bikes too. So away we go. A bit of fresh air there as we get the start underway from David Bull. That's not a good start from him. Is that Kevin Allen battling it out at the front from what I can see, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, but I was just catching the back of the grid there, and Ian Stanley, who is the 4th rider this weekend on the twist grip bikes, had a terrible start, really bogged it down, and you just seen him going into Redgate last there. So yeah, he's I got instructing him on Friday in the afternoon, and yeah, he's been looking at trying to improve his times because he used to run around on an FZ 600 in the Classic Club.
Okay.
So yeah, he was on the club bike at Brands Hatch, and now yeah, he's here this weekend. He's a good friend with Wooly and Cooper, so yeah, he'll be looking to catch some places up and continue his improvement.
Well, you better get him working on his starts next time you're out giving him a few lessons, I think, mate.
He did ask me that, and I said I'm probably not the right person to ask. So.
All right, leaders then are up to the first timing point up there just before Coppers. Again, we don't get times at all. What we can tell you, though, is that it is Kev Woolley, big surprise, leading the way, because very clearly on our screens there. And he's not just leading the way, he's absolutely dominating proceedings at the moment. The battle really is for that second place. There's a big gaggle of people arguing over that. Well, the more they argue, the easier it's going to be for Kev to run away. Look at him go.
Well, just on that top 3, so obviously David Ball has been fighting. Well, actually, he's 4th at the moment, so he's now 3rd as he's crossed the line. He's got himself full up with a nice English breakfast, so he's thinking that that's the thing that's going to make the difference this morning.
No, fair enough. Why not? A bit of energy, a bit of protein.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't go wrong. Absolutely not. So Kev Woolley leads by 1.4 seconds over the line for the first time ahead of Alan Cooper. There's David Bull, Jeff Wilkins and Hayward. Paul Whitney makes up 3 places on the opening laps, as does Andy Wales making up a place, I should say. Damien Lee and Alan Cooper going back a couple of places each. Andy Bursko makes some good moves there. He comes across the line having made up 5 places. Tommy Caldwell, he drops a couple of places, so if he wants to get himself another gold medal on Pete Branton's old machine, he'll need to lift his skirt up a little bit, because he's only got about half a second or so to make up and catch Mark Stubblefield, who leads the class at the moment. John Hamilton there is in 3rd after his issues yesterday with the bike. They're all sorted. David May is indeed on the grid there. He makes up 6 places on the opening lap. What went wrong with the club bike then yesterday? Very rare we see a failure with that.
Yeah, it looks like potential clutch slip. So yeah, we put Len, I say we, the Royal we. Len's put a new clutch in that yesterday evening. So hopefully that'll behave itself in this race.
Today, yeah. Well, Ian Stanley, you're right, did make a good start. He lost 8 places on the opening lap, so not the best of starts for him as Woolley comes across the line with a 19.522. Fastest second time though. Andy Wales, so he's very much a man looking to make some moves there as he makes up another place. Richard Hayward goes back a couple. Alan Cooper loses a couple of places to David Bull and Jeff Lynch. They're still far from sorting themselves out. Tommy Caldwell does indeed go past on Mark Stubblefield. Stubblefield losing a couple of places because Andy Bursko also went past there. So Tommy will have Andy's 350 to chase for some of the race by the look of it. Dan Goff goes past him, John Hamilton as well, and takes that all-important 3rd place in the Clubman race. David May stays where he is in 18th place, but he's less than a second behind Colvin Turner, so I think we'll have Colvin in his sights well and truly. And Kent Marshall moving up very nicely indeed to be on the first screen in 20th place there, so he's managed to put 10 bikes or so behind him as well. So all good stuff there for Reverend Kevin. So clearly that little moment yesterday has not slowed the man down at all, has it, Pete?
No, that's right. He had a little bit of a swollen hand yesterday, but you know, he's a big, strong northern lad. This wasn't going to stop him from getting back on the grid. No,
absolutely not. It's got to impress the grandchildren somehow. Okay, over the line then goes Kev Woolley, this time with a 19.585, so a little bit slower than he was. And now we see a faster second time for Damien Lee as well. So some changing there. Alan Cooper, I wonder if Alan's got some issues there, because Paul Whitby and Andy Wales both went past him on that lap there. Tommy Caldwell, who's far from chasing Andy Bursko, has found his way past on Andy, and I think he might have designs on that place. No, he's quite a bit slower than Alan Cooper, actually, about a couple of seconds slower. So that place might be reasonably safe, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Tommy with that relatively empty track in front of him now. Maybe chisel that way at that 22, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 21 or maybe even a 20 from him before the end of the race. So
yeah,
he's still well.
Yeah, sure. And you look at that top 10, I think there's just who is that that's coming in? There's
65 machine, unfortunately.
that's
Nigel
Nigel
Terry,
Terry.
yeah. It's come over all Italian on him, so he wheels his way into the pits, which is a great shame for him.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that, when you're looking at the top 10, I think apart from one rider, maybe who's that? Is that Cooper? Everyone's doing a 120, apart from obviously Mr. Woolley, who's doing a 119 at the minute. That's in the top 10, so you know that just shows how competitive this class still is up the front there. And you know, when you're running that time, it shows you can be 10th in one race and maybe 3rd in the next, right?
Yep, no, absolutely. Look at the big long line bikes coming past us now. It's Woolley obviously well in front by 3.5 seconds, and then Bull Moot. Wales and Whitney changed places there, so Andy Wales is 1.4 seconds away from getting his first medal in the YPMs. Now, Dougie's out of action with that leg. It's not gone back together as well as he was hoping, isn't it? Is that what Dougie's is?
Yeah, I mean, when I spoke to him on Trader Friday, I think it was Friday, and he said that, you know, that things were progressing. It is a slow burner. Obviously, it was a very serious accident and a very serious injury. But, you know, you can't keep the man down, and he's been out in his MX-5 already.
Yeah.
And he's now looking to invest in some new kit and going to get going on a race in that.
Okay, so we watch the 42 machine now coming to the pit. So that's Nigel Pearson. Yeah, it's Mark, sorry. Martin Pearson, so it's another DNF, unfortunately. Yeah, so is Andy Wales going to be using the bike again, do we know? But Cadwell, because we've got 2 Cadwell meetings of the YPMs, haven't we? Because you guys do the Sidecar Classics as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a strong possibility. I guess it was just to suck it and see this weekend and see how we got on. And obviously, if he does manage to put a foot on the podium, that will perhaps encourage him that little bit more to go again.
I think the way he is at the moment. All right, here we go. It's Woolley over. Oh, new fastest lap there all of a sudden. Jeff Mooch suddenly reached down and found the pair. I don't know where that came from, but all of a sudden he joins the 19 club with a 19.472. So at this stage he's given himself pole position in the next race. If nothing else, he's gone past on David Bull. I think that was the incentive to get past David Bull. And it looks like Andy's joined the 119 club as well there on that particular lap with a 19.541. So he goes a little bit quicker. In fact, about 7/10 of a second quicker than David Bull in front of him. So yeah, I think he might have to come out again and have a good go at getting the podium next time if he doesn't get one today, because that's very impressive stuff from the former champion in the MZs and currently leader in that championship as well. Definitely having a good time of it. Richard Hayward goes past on Alan Cooper there for 6th place as well. Tommy Caldwell is, what's he got down to? No, he doesn't go any quicker than that 22.1. In fact, he's in the 23s now. So he's getting slower. And I've just noticed Alan Cooper hasn't tripped the timing beam out the back there all of a sudden. So I wonder if we've got an issue there for Alan Cooper.
That was
right,
Kev, wasn't
Kev Woolley,
yeah.
coming across the line. They're very similar machines. So, yeah, obviously the twist grip motorcycles all very similar indeed. Jet Moot there in 2nd. Does another 19 as well, a 19.7 for him. David Bull, Andy Wales, Andy go quick. Yes, he does. Goes another half second quicker. We've got that gap down at 6/10 of a second with 3 laps to go. So I think you could be right. I think he could be looking at a sniff of the podium there as Alan Cooper unfortunately goes tumbling it down the order. So everybody gets promoted at least one place. Apart from Andy Bursko gets promoted a couple of places. But we've lost Tommy Caldwell as well now. Look at that. That's why they're getting promoted, because Tommy's gone missing as well. So not quite sure what has happened there. Now Tommy was Alan Cooper. I'm not going to speculate. It gets all very confusing down there. Well, looks like there's a couple more stories to be told before the end of this race.
Let's see what I can find out.
Yeah, we'll see if we can bring them up to us next time. But that gives us a club in order of Stubberfield, Goff and Hamilton. So it's all changing there. And Stubberfield and Goff are only separated by a couple of tenths of a second. So that one's definitely all to play for with just a couple of laps left now. And we're just waiting for Mr. Woolley. Here he comes, head deep in the shed there, working the curb like a motocross berm. Over the line he comes. And yep, that's 7 laps completed for him. 2.5 seconds is the gap now between himself and Jeff Moog. Jeff is closing every single lap. He pulls 7/10 back on that lap with 2.5 seconds to drag back over 2 laps. Probably a little bit too much of an ask. David Bull and Andy Wales, they're separated by 0.955 because all of a sudden David goes that little bit quicker than Andy for a change. Paul Whitby, Richard Hayward and Damien Lee. And it's Dan Cooper, isn't it, the 162 machine? Andy Bursko up next. And Paul Tolan rounds out your top 10 as Dan Goff does indeed go past on Mark Stubblefield for the lead in the Clubmans. Trouble with the being in the Clubmans, you'll know who your fellow Clubmans are, but it's always very difficult. I don't know if you found yourself in this situation as well, Pete, but if you're in the sort of midfield there, you're never quite sure exactly, you know, you might win the Clubman section, but you can't really celebrate because you don't know you've actually won it till you get the sheet, do you?
Yeah, certainly when the field gets spread out a little bit. Obviously for Danny and Stubblefield there, I'm sure they know what they're doing, and it looks like Danny Goff is actually just taking that place above from Mark now. So, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It can be a bit difficult. And yesterday, and now, obviously, but his knees just dropped down the field a bit. Having a wild card thrown in can add to the mix as well. It's like, you know, what should I do? Do I need to make an effort here to go past or not?
Yes, no, absolutely. I know when I raced in the sub-64, sometimes with the YPM bike, you'd be in the middle of the field, but you'd actually be leading the sub-64 class sometimes. It's gets very confusing indeed. Oh, look at that. Jeff Moog's gone quicker again. I tell you what, he's leaving it a bit late because the hurry-up flag has just gone out to him. Kent Woolley still leads by 1.7 seconds. But Jeff Moog now goes another fastest lap with a 19.4. So he's going to have that consolation prize, and of course the silver medals go with it. Look at that, Andy Wales has moved up because it's all changed. We lost somebody else.
David Ball.
Yeah, he's disappeared. Where's he gone?
He's fallen down, isn't he?
He's dropping down the order as well. So it looks like the button recovery band's going to be working overtime very shortly. So Andy Wales does indeed look good for his first ever podium in the YPM class, and very solid third place there for him. So Paul Whitby, Richard Hayward, Damien Lee, Mark Stubblefield moving up a couple of places there because he's gone back on pass on Dan Goff. So those two are continuing their battle. Let's see if Dan can slip past him toward the end. Who else has gone past? Neil's gone past somebody there as well. So David Ball about to drop off the top screen as some of the back markers come over the line. And it is indeed Kev Woolley taking the win by nearly 3 seconds from Jeff Moog. They all go quite slowly on that last lap. I'm imagining there's probably a couple of yellow flags out around the circuit there. But Andy Wales, I don't know if Andy will know he's just finished third in the race, but well